Have you ever faced an injustice so glaring, so absurd, so cruel, so disproportionate, that the only response left to you was silence? Some silences weigh heavily, silences that unsettle. But there are also silences that liberate, that protect, that elevate. Not all silence is omission. Sometimes it is resistance, sometimes it is maturity. What makes someone, in the face of insult, betrayal, or contempt, choose not to react, to stand tall, chest open, and yet remain silent? Is it fear, weakness, or the highest form of courage that exists? The world applauds those who react, those who shout, those who win with sharp words. But time reveres those who choose silence, because silence has weight, it has intent, it has power. The wise, the truly wise, know there are battles won only with a quiet soul. Without raising your voice, without stooping to the level of provocation, without explaining yourself to those who've already decided not to understand. Today, we'll delve into one of the most intense, symbolic, and misunderstood moments in history, the trial of Jesus, but not as a religious narrative, rather as a mirror for our own souls, a mirror that reflects the value of self-control, of dignity in the face of injustice, of strength that needs to prove nothing to anyone, because perhaps you, too, are facing a trial. Perhaps fingers are being pointed at you, waiting for you to lose composure. Perhaps your silence is your only weapon and your greatest shield. Stay until the end. In this video, you'll understand why silence can be your greatest strength and why it is not absence, but presence. If this journey has already begun within you, subscribe to this channel. Here, every story is a silent compass for those seeking real wisdom. Today, we'll uncover the Stoic message behind Wisdom Chooses Silence, the trial of Jesus. It was dawn in Jerusalem. A biting cold crept through the stone streets. But it wasn't just the weather that chilled the skin, it was the invisible weight of betrayal that had been sealed. Jesus, the one who preached love and walked among men as an equal, had been handed over, not by a sworn enemy, but by someone who had shared bread, wine, and confidences, someone to whom he had entrusted his heart. Judas did not stab him with a sword, but with a kiss, the most intimate gesture turned into a seal of condemnation. Roman soldiers approached with gleaming armor, lit torches, and cold eyes. There was no escape, no resistance. Jesus stood motionless, facing the storm gathering round him. He extended his hands to be bound. As one who understands, there are moments in life when you must not fight the current, but move through it in silence. They took him to the Sanhedrin, the council of holy men. But holiness is more than appearance. There they stood, in long robes, with lofty words and upright posture. Yet the verdict had been decided before the first glance. No chance for defense, no effort to understand. The accusation was blasphemy of daring to touch the divine with human words. They accused him of seeking to destroy the temple, of proclaiming himself king. Yet in the face of it all, Jesus did not raise his voice. He did not argue. He did not try to persuade. His silence weighed heavier than any argument. He looked into the eyes of his judges, not with anger, not with fear, but with a kind of compassion only the truly elevated possess. The kind of compassion that knows those who wound do so because they are wounded. The kind of love that sees beyond the offense. The next morning, the case was brought before Pilate, the Roman governor, a cold man, accustomed to manipulating decisions and suppressing revolts. To him, Jesus was just another case to be swiftly resolved. Yet, as he interrogated this prisoner, Pilate encountered something unusual. A man who did not beg, who did not try to escape, who, unlike others, stood firm, without uttering a single word, pleading for salvation. "Will you not defend yourself?" Pilate asked, already impatient. Jesus remained silent, not out of scorn, but because he knew words do not change hearts already hardened. "Do you not know that I have the power to free you or crucify you?" The governor pressed. The silence continued. A silence that carried more presence than any impassioned speech. A silence that said, "You may decide over my body, but you have no power over my soul." The crowd was summoned. They shouted. They demanded. They called for blood. "Crucify him." They repeated, fury in their eyes and stones in their hands. Pilate hesitated, but in the end, he yielded. Power bowed to pressure. Once again, truth was sacrificed for political convenience. Jesus was handed over, whipped, spat upon, mocked. They crowned him with thorns, as if pain could destroy his dignity. They draped him in a scarlet robe to mock his kingship. But his kingship was not in the cloth, it was in his posture, in the way he bore the weight without complaint, with every lash, every insult nor scream, no curse, only steady eyes, calm breath, because his strength was not in his arms, it was in his spirit, in the deep conviction of one who knows truth does not need to defend itself. It simply is. Led to Golgotha. He carried the cross as if bearing the burden of all humanity. He fell, he rose, he walked on, not with defiance, but with acceptance, not passive, but profound. He did not surrender to injustice. He transcended it, nailed to the beam, hanging between two thieves. Jesus watched. He heard the insults. He listened to the scorn, but he did not respond. Instead, he looked upward and said, "Father, forgive them, they know not what they do." There was no bitterness in his voice, no hatred, no desire for vengeance, only clarity, an understanding beyond pain, beyond ego. He did not identify as a victim, because his mission was not self-pity, it was surrender. He knew he was not there to fight men, but to reveal a higher path, a path where power is not shouting louder, but standing firm. When everything says you should fall. In the moment of greatest humiliation, his silence became eternal. More than the absence of sound, it was a living presence, an echo that spans centuries, hearts, consciences, a quiet reminder that true power is not dominating others, but mastering oneself, that the greatest act of strength can be, not answering, not defending, not striking back. So the story ends, not with fanfare, but with depth. A man unjustly accused, silent before the shouts, steadfast in his surrender, a cross on a hill, not as a symbol of defeat, but as proof that the human spirit, when at peace with itself, cannot be destroyed. And it is in this final silence that the greatest lesson begins. Jesus' attitude in the face of pain, injustice, and humiliation resonates powerfully with the teachings of the great Stoic masters. His silence was not the absence of a reaction, it was absolute presence, an inner mastery so complete that not even the threat of death could move him from himself. As Epictetus would say, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Jesus was not shaken by the hasty judgment of men, nor by the sharp words of the crowd, nor by the weight of the cross, not because he felt nothing, but because he had mastered the way he interpreted the world around him. He understood that pain, betrayal, and mockery are part of the journey, but they have no power to touch the essence of one aligned with their purpose. This is what Seneca would call, the greatest proof of wisdom is constant serenity. The world was collapsing around Jesus, his friends abandoned him, the leaders condemned him, the people screamed for his death, and yet, he did not curse them, he did not shout, he did not beg, he remained like a rock, standing firm in the storm. That is not weakness, it is rare strength. The strength of those who do not need the world to understand them in order to keep their inner peace. This is the essence of Stoic philosophy. Focus on what you can control, and serenely let go of what is beyond your reach. Jesus could not change the hearts of his accusers, but he could choose how to respond, and he chose silence. Not the silence of surrender, the silence of transcendence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." And Christ, elevated in dignity even as he was humiliated, did not stoop to the level of his offenders. He did not answer with anger. He did not reflect the evil he received. He remained himself. Even crucified, he maintained nobility of spirit. His response was forgiveness. His revenge was love. His weapon was stillness. This is what Epictetus would call inner freedom. His body could be whipped, his name slandered, his blood spilled, but his soul, that was untouchable. He had learned that suffering does not destroy, it only reveals. And what Jesus revealed was a virtue so pure that few men in history have even come close to imitating it. It is easy to be good when we are praised. It is easy to be serene when all is well. But what about when we are accused, when we are betrayed, when they place a crown of thorns on us and expose us to mockery? Jesus responded with what Seneca considered the highest degree of wisdom, emotional control in the face of tragedy. There was no despair, no rush to explain, only lucid acceptance, because he was not trying to convince the world, but to remain whole before God and before himself. As it is also written in Ecclesiastes, there is a time to be silent and a time to speak, Jesus chose the time for silence, and in that silence, he said everything. This is the virtue of endurance, not the arrogance of needing to be right, but the maturity of knowing that time reveals all things. True justice is not won by shouting, but by the constancy of those who endure without losing dignity. Just as the Stoics taught, live aligned with reason, accept what cannot be changed, and remain centered even when the world drags you into chaos. This is what Jesus did, and that is why his silence still echoes today. And you? Are you facing your own invisible trial? Perhaps not before robed judges and torchlight, but before eyes that misunderstand you. Maybe not in a courtroom, but in a family that doesn't grasp your heart. In a workplace that doesn't recognize your worth. In a relationship where you give and receive nothing. Are you waiting for answers that never come? Trying to prove your value to people who've already decided to see you as small? What if the silence weighing on you now is not punishment, but preparation? What if this time, without answers, is the field where your strength is being forged? How many times have you wanted to scream, to expose, accuse, prove you were right, but something inside you told you to stay silent? Maybe it's not fear. Maybe it's maturity, because sometimes growth doesn't come from the answer, it comes from the waiting. How many times have you felt betrayed, wounded by those you helped, judged by those who don't know your heart, and yet you keep going? Silent, present, whole, who has betrayed you, and you still haven't forgiven? Is it really them holding you back, or is it your pain keeping you chained? Are you waiting for justice, or resisting life's silent invitation to become something greater? Jesus did not answer his accusers, but he also did not carry bitterness. He freed himself, even before the crucifixion. Because forgiveness is not forgetting what was done to you, it is remembering who you choose to remain, in spite of it. And you? Are you waiting for justice, or waiting to grow? What the world calls weakness, the soul often calls endurance. Self-mastery is not passivity, it is firmness. It is knowing when to speak, and when to simply breathe. It is staying whole. Even when everything around you is in ruins, it is not losing yourself in the chaos. Life has silences that unsettle, weights that suffocate, but it is in these empty spaces that something sacred happens. The prison you feel today may be the forge of your character. The isolation that hurts now may be the womb of a new version of you. Firmer, frier, forer, more silent, not because you've given up, but because you've learned that noise doesn't resolve what is internal. Yes, the silence that troubles you, your training ground. Are you being called to master yourself before trying to master the world? You can endure more than you think, but your strength won't prove itself by shouting. It will reveal itself in stillness, in the decision not to answer everything, in the courage not to react on impulse, in the choice to simply keep going. Breathe. You are not stuck, you are being shaped. Every warrior, before the battle, must pass through this desert. It is not punishment, it is refinement. Keep going. Today's silence may be tomorrow's glory. The truly wise do not answer violence with vengeance, but with presence. They do not need to raise their voice to be heard. They do not need to defend themselves to be at peace. They walk with the steadiness of one who has already won, without needing to prove anything to anyone, because true strength is not shouted, it is sustained. The wise man does not choose the easiest path. He honors the path that was given to him, even if that path is full of stones, full of closed doors, full of judgments without defense. Sometimes that path is made of silence, of waiting, of self-mastery, of sleepless nights and answers that never come. But it is on this difficult path that character is refined, that the ego is broken, that the soul grows stronger. Perhaps you are right there, in a moment when everything around you screams, but deep inside, something calls for silence. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you already understand that it's not worth explaining yourself to those who refuse to understand. That time speaks louder than any argument. That truth always finds its way, even if it takes a while. And if this story touched something deep within you, if at any point you saw yourself as Jesus before Pilate, watched, judged, misunderstood, yet still silent, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom, then consider following this channel. Here, every story is more than content. It is a mirror, a silent compass for the soul, a reminder that you are not alone, that wisdom needs no stage, no applause, it already lives within you. silent, steadfast, eternal. If this message found you at the right time, leave a comment with the word self-mastery. That way, we'll know this light has reached you to . And if you want to walk with us on this journey of depth, wisdom, and transformation, just click follow. After all, the wise do not wait for the storm to pass. They learn to dance in the rain. In silence,